because you've got middle-income countries around the world facing a number of challenges, and economies in the North African region are no exception. So the director in charge of North Africa, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, or UNECA, Susanna Skudrowski, in this chart outlined some of the sustainable solutions that are actionable for North Africa. Let's listen.
Issues surrounding middle-income countries is becoming increasingly important for the continent because more than half of African countries today are middle-income. Actually, according to the World Bank, it's 30. Only one African country is high-income, Seychelles, and with this, it's basically a new landscape that these countries are facing than, let's say, 20 years ago.
First of all, for the ordinary person watching, who is not an economist, when is a middle-income country? What does it mean?
It's basically done by a gross national income per capita. So that's actually the only criterion that is used. So it's an income-based measure. And today's, so there are some cutoffs that change every year. And today 30 countries are middle income. World Bank started with this classification in 1989 when they divided countries according to income, to low income, lower middle income, upper middle income, and high income countries. And then they have been following every year and changing slightly the cuts off. It's a useful concept, but it's also a very limiting one because income is only one criterion of development, and it doesn't really often, and it's an income per capita, so it's an average measure, so it doesn't really tell us about inequality, it doesn't tell us about many other issues, health, impact of climate change. But it is still a good proxy of development, and it is used.
So when you met with reps from these middle-income countries in Rabat not too long ago, what were you talking about? Why was it important to come together with them?
Yes, so the meeting was organized with Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Morocco, because Morocco is currently chairing the group of like-minded middle-income countries, and they are trying to have a unified voice on the issues. And it was also co-organized with UNDP. It was a major event. We had over 20 ministers and representatives of other sectors and also UN agencies. And we can maybe summarize the issues of middle-income countries into the more traditional ones and then the current ones. So traditional, basically there was a term coined very shortly after middle-income countries were created, which is referred to as middle-income trap. And what it does, it's referring to a slowdown that most countries experience once they start exiting or exit the low-income category and enter the middle-income category. And there are several reasons. One of them is that it's easier to grow from low base, of course. But the other one, it's mainly a structural issue. So the drivers that are helping countries to grow at a low income level are no longer sufficient once they reach the middle income level. Because when they are middle income, to catch up and become high income, they of course have to grow higher than the high income countries. So one of the key messages was actually that this GDP per capita, or GNI, doesn't matter, is not really a good measure of countries' development, because the moment the countries reach it, they are actually kind of punished in terms of access to affordable financing. They are no longer eligible most of the time for concessional funding. For example, the recent G20 common framework for debt restructuring doesn't apply to most middle-income countries or to middle-income countries, so they are quite excluded. So suddenly, and this is referred to as middle-income trap 2. So middle-income trap 1 is basically the slowing growth, but the middle-income trap 2 is the lack of affordable financing at scale. And that keeps countries preventing, because advanced economies, at least until recently, were able to borrow at extremely low rates. But for many African countries, the rates have always been higher. And obviously there is the risk premium that distinguishes them. So so this needs to be addressed. I think there is in general consensus on this, but then how exactly it will be done and at what speed, that we still need to see about the implementation. And another major challenge for the middle-income countries is the human capital. So as I mentioned, the drivers of growth need to change from just basically bringing more people or even investment into the production process, into innovation, and human capital will therefore play extremely important role. So Africa needs to think not only about the skills today, but where do they want to be and where is it realistic to be in 5, 10, etc. years, and what type of skills will it require. So building skills for today, but also for the future, and there should be kind of relatively smooth transition between those type of skills. So
wonderful. I hear there's strength in unity, and thus the need for, some would argue that it's important for us to forge South-South cooperation, at least amongst middle-income countries. Is that something you believe in?
Yes, no, I think this is extremely important, because the experiences that the advanced economies have for many cases will not be particularly relevant for middle-income or low-income countries. First of all, the times have changed. We have completely different factors: climate change, digitalization, etc. And also the level of development is changing. So what worked perhaps, you know, in EU country, most likely if we just take it and apply, will not be working. So it's very good to learn from other countries, and this has been going on. And also the good news is now that African Union Commission will have a chair at the G20, which will allow, you know, it's another venue for unified and amplified African voice.